call of the Hogs can be heard all the way to San Francisco.
You're listening to Pod at the Palace with Curtis Wilkerson on Inside Arkansas.
Good morning, everybody. Happy Friday, and welcome back to the Pod at the Palace. I'm your host, Curtis Wilkerson with Inside Arkansas. Shout out to the Coffee Club holding it down this morning. Me and Andrew are definitely going to be joining the Coffee Club tomorrow. If we haven't already, we're pulling out of Fayetteville, I don't know, 3 a.m., 3:30, and hitting the road down to Dallas for this game. We want to give ourselves plenty of time to get down there and scope out the atmosphere well before tip-off. So we're pumped. We're excited. Just one sleep away from Arkansas, Texas Tech at the American Airlines Center. That is if you can sleep. You know, the anticipation is crazy. It's like Christmas morning for me, man. I'm looking forward to this basketball game. I have been all week, and the thing is, it's been a week since they played, and that's too long. Like, we're excited about this basketball team, and I get it. You got final exams and everything like that, and they probably could use a little bit of rest and recovery and practice time to clean some things up, but I just assume they play every 2 or 3 days, man. I mean, come on. Reminder, we just said we'll be on the road in the morning, so today is going to be kind of your full game preview that we would normally do the morning of the game. Depending on how the day goes, I'm thinking about doing like a little Pod at the Palace after dark to get you guys geared up for game day, something a little bit shorter. We'll have a little bit of fun with it, maybe. We'll see. I don't want to promise that, but I'm going to give you plenty today to work with for sure. Also, be sure to join us tomorrow if you are in Dallas after the game, probably 15 to 20 minutes or so after the final horn, over at Chops Sports Victory Park, right there next to American Airlines Center for the Pod at the Palace postgame show. Again, if you're watching from home, you're not able to make it down to the game, we will start just a little bit later than normal because we got to get over there afterwards and get everything set up so we can go live, but should be a lot of fun. We have some sound bites from Karter Knox to react to today in preparation for this game, plus all of our typical preview content from keys to victory, what to watch, stats to strive for, and all that good stuff there. You guys know the drill, so let's hop right into it. First, got to tell you about our friends over at Blue Ember Smokehouse. Man, you got to get over to one of their locations, lunch, dinner. It doesn't really matter. We do our shows there the first Wednesday of every month, and it opens at 10:45 in the morning. There's a line out the door, people waiting to get in. Breakfast barbecue, why not? Chances are, if you live in the state of Arkansas, you're close to one of their spots. They've got 6 in a natural state: Fort Smith, Jonesboro, Texarkana, Little Rock, Hot Springs, and Rogers. And you see the numbers right there on your screen. You can also take advantage of their holiday deals this season that can feed the whole family and your loved ones. You know, they got whole turkeys, turkey breasts, whole hams that can feed a small army over there. They've also got all the side options, half pan or full pan, things like mac and cheese, green beans, potato salad, baked beans, and sweet potato casserole. Check out their website, www.blueembersmokehouse.com, or again, call your local chain there for Blue Ember and get some more information on their deals. Probably if you're trying to do something for Christmas time, you're getting pretty close to when you want to get those orders put in, and I think it'd be a good investment if you do. I mean, you can see it rolling around on the screen right there. So thank you for supporting your local Blue Ember Smokehouse. We're looking forward to getting back out there for sure. Okay, Karter Knox spoke with media Thursday morning, and I'm glad that they chose him because he's one of the returners for the Razorbacks, obviously who played in that game last season in the Sweet 16, so he had plenty to say. Now, I'm not going to play everything here, but I did clip out about 5 minutes worth of his press conference, basically everything that pertained to him personally, this Texas Tech game, and we're going to play that, and we'll stop along the way and react to some of the things that he had to say. But I thought some pretty good stuff here from Arkansas sophomore wing, who, frankly, they need to get going, and this is a great time for it to happen.
Curious, y'all have a bunch of marquee games on your schedule, but this one, does it feel a little bit extra, considering this is a team that ended y'all season last year?
I mean, it's not, it's a regular game for us. It's a game that we got to get. Very big game for us. They did beat us last year, but it's not a revenge game. I feel like this game we're going to make a statement.
I like what he said right there. I feel like this game we're going to make a statement. Now, what he said about this is just another game for us, that's the right mentality to have. It's the right thing to say out loud. But come on, bro. We already know. This one means something to you. He basically says as much a little bit later, but I thought that was funny.
And for you personally, kind of, what are you looking to do? I mean, the first few big games, haven't probably been as good as you'd hoped. Kind of, how are you hoping to maybe right the ship for yourself?
Just staying in the gym, trusting my work and just going out there and playing hard, doing the little things, and just being active everywhere on the ball and just playing my game.
I mean, he's absolutely right though about getting himself going. I like that and maybe he is behind closed doors. Who knows? But from his demeanor there, I mean, he looks pretty calm, cool, and collected, and that's exactly what he needs to. You got to kind of let it come to you. You can't press too much. You can't force the issue too much. Control what you can control. That's kind of something we've been talking about with Karter. Your effort, your energy levels, crashing the glass, getting after it defensively, and creating some things through that. And the other stuff's going to come for you if you do that. And so I imagine that's probably the mindset the coaches have been, preaching to him. And if that's something he embraces, he's going to be just fine. And so I liked hearing that from Karter right there.
Anthony.
Yeah, hey Carter. I'm just curious, how much have you guys looked at the tape from last season's game between you guys, and just what do you notice when you look back at that, especially looking at JT Top and Christian Anderson, those guys?
Well, first we should have won that game. Looking back at that tape now, but they're two pretty good players. JT Toppin, Big 12 Player of the Year, and Christian Anderson, a big player for their team. So we've been watching the tape, and we're prepared, and we've been scouting for them, and I feel like we're gonna come out with this win.
I like that. I feel like we're going to come out with this win. I love how Carter's he's just very nonchalant about it. Like you want to, hey, respect to the opponent, but we don't want to give him too much credit. It's like, yeah, it's a pretty good player, but we'll be ready for him. It's whatever kind of deal. I like that. I like that approach a lot, but he's got a little bit of a demeanor to him right now. Karter looks dialed to me. He looks dialed in. Maybe I'm wrong, but man, you think about, in these 3 games that Arkansas's played against high majors, so Michigan State and Duke and Louisville, our man Karter Knox is averaging less than 3 points per game. That is crazy to me. He's so much better than that. And I know he's trying to figure some stuff out. I know he had, the nicks and bruises and the toe thing going on early in the season, but he's just due to have a really nice game against a good team. And it feels like this is the perfect opportunity for him to do that.
And obviously you guys played in Dallas last season against Baylor. I know that one also didn't go the way you guys wanted to, but anything you remember about playing in Dallas? What's the environment like there? And yeah, just what do you like about playing there?
I mean, I love playing in Dallas. The fans, they came last year. It was crazy. It felt like we was back in Bud Walton. But so we need that same energy, when we play in Dallas.
Just to follow up.
I will say real quick on that. I listened to Grant McCasland, it's Texas Tech's coach, his pregame press conference for this one. I guess he did it earlier on Thursday as well. And I was going to clip some things out from that. It was kind of, he didn't go into too much specifics on like Arkansas's players and everything, but a lot of respect for the Razorbacks. He was just like Pat Kelsey from Louisville, where he was like, man, this team's speed and their athleticism and their talent, like they're one of the most talented teams in the country. A lot of respect there. He knows their transition defense and everything is going to be really, really critical in this game. But he talked a lot about how impressed he's been with Arkansas. He's watched every game at this point, and he was like, from the team you saw against Southern to the team you saw against Louisville, it's night and day. And he's been really impressed with how much better Arkansas has gotten. And I think we can all see that as well. And he kind of compared it to last year's team where Arkansas had all those bumps along the way early in the season. They were really down bad. And then he was like, by the time the season ended, they were one of the best teams in the country. And he was like, I know that because we played them and we felt that. And that kind of validates what Cal was saying when she was like, dude, if we'd have won that Texas Tech game, we feel like we could have won the whole thing. And it just goes to tell you how, we get so hung up on individual results, and it's hard not to. And all these games are important. They can put you in a great spot or make you feel like you're behind the curve or whatever. But it's all about how you're playing at the end of the year. And Arkansas is a great example of that last season. And to McCasland's point, they're already making big time strides this year. Even after Arkansas beat Michigan last season, they still had a lot of flaws they had to work out. And this team does too. But I think you can definitely see some more clear, tangible, a pathway to this team has been getting better at this stage of a year than they were last year. So I think they're a little bit better prepared for this one for sure.
On that, I mean, what's the ratio of how much film you guys have been watching of last year compared to what Texas Tech is doing this season? What's kind of the ratio there?
It's not a lot. Last year they had different players. This year, they got new players, and they run a lot of new sets and new plays and stuff. So, we're mainly focused on this team scout. We're not really paying attention as last year, but they do run the same plays last year and how we guarded it, how we defended it. We was up at 16 at one point, so we obviously did a pretty good job on them. So that's what we've been doing.
And it is interesting because this is something that we talked about yesterday where yes, they because of the way they recruited, where they lost a bunch of dudes, but they went out and got guys who kind of fill the exact same roles, that they are able to do a lot of the same things, run the same stuff. If you watch this year's Texas Tech team play and you watch last year's Texas Tech team play, there are a lot of similarities in the way they go about their business. That makes it a little bit easier to prepare for using last year's film. You can do some of the things that worked for you well and at least have those in your bag of tricks when you get to a game like this. But obviously, they would have paid more attention to, their last game against LSU, for example, as opposed to playing a bunch of different guys in March.
What has Coach Cal been focusing most on this week?
Focusing on defense, defense and rebounding. Texas Tech, they get a lot of trying to get an offensive rebounds, try and play physical. But we've been doing straight rebounding drills, almost like football drills. We're ready for this team.
I would be doing a lot of rebounding drills too. I mean, after giving up 22 offensive rebounds in the Sweet 16 last year, playing these guys again, JT Toppin back, yeah, that sounds good to me. Football drills, rebounding drills, physicality. Yep. I like that. That's it. That's exactly what I would say. So good on them for doing that. Hopefully it translates. I remember Cal talking, I can't remember which game it was, but he was like, we did rebound drills all week, and you see how well that worked out for us. They got out rebounded by somebody else after that Michigan State game, but they have shown improvement there. They showed against Louisville that they can rebound and do it successfully against good teams. This one, for me, hey, if Arkansas is able to get in there and get a bunch of offensive rebounds and second chance points, great. That's awesome. I'm just saying keep JT Toppin off the offensive glass, man. And we'll talk more about that in a minute and how important that is, but you cannot let that dude dictate the game by his activity on the backboards.
And just to follow up on JT Toppin, I mean, what are things about him that just makes him so effective, having gone up against him last year?
No, he has great touch around the rim, great touch around the rim and a very active offensive rebounder. He's Big 12 Player of the Year. He's pretty good.
There he is again. Yeah, he's Big 12 Player of the Year. He's pretty good. He's unfazed by it, man. I love that.
And last one for me, you just said that you guys want to make a statement. Is that something that you guys are talking out loud about? Is that something maybe more silent, common knowledge? What about that?
We're just talking out loud. I feel like we're the best team in the nation, and we got to prove it on Saturday and prove for the whole season.
Does that get you fired up? That gets me really fired up, man. We feel like we're the best team in the nation. We want to prove that this weekend. I love that, man. Yeah, say it out loud. Of course, you're supposed to feel that way. You know what I mean? Like if you're on Arkansas stage with, the talent that you have, the coach that you have, and everything like that, you're supposed to feel that way. You're supposed to have expectations like that. Why duck it? Why shy away from it? It's kind of what we talked about coming into the season. Like I'm ready to be able to embrace this and really believe in it. Peacock a little bit. That's what Karter Knox is doing right there. That confidence is it's important. It's infectious. He's one of the leaders on this basketball team, even if the season hasn't been going his way so far. And that's the type of mentality you want going into a game like this.
Thanks.
Jackson.
Yeah, Carter, you've already kind of talked about the disappointment of losing last year, but I'm just curious personally. I mean, you scored 20 points at a big late clutch three that looked like it might do it. I mean, what do you remember? Do you remember the positives of that game for you personally last year against Texas Tech?
Oh yeah, I most definitely do. Remember the positives. It was very a good moment for me. Good and bad moment. The good moment was, that was the best game I ever played all season. The bad moment is that was the last game of my season. So it was kind of crazy for me, but
Did that give you a new, I don't know, level of confidence, belief, anything heading into the offseason with that type of game?
Oh yeah, most definitely. My confidence, was already raised, was already through the roof, and I felt confident just coming back, playing with these guys. These guys are we're just so well team chemistry, and I feel like that's why I say we're the best team in the nation.
I like that. I like to hear that a lot. I agree. It seems like this group has a good camaraderie about them, and it would be easy for that not to be the case. I mean, you took a couple tough losses there. And you've got some guys who, contributed to the cause so much last year, who probably came back thinking, hey, this is going to be my team. And then you realize, oh, wow, these two young guns are really, really good. So what does this mean for me? Not a whole lot of pouting, not a lot of bad attitudes, just people dialed in. It's like Cal says, lose yourself within the team. And it's easier said than done, and it won't be the case 100% of the time. But Karter is a guy who's smart enough to know that, and he knows the more that he does that, the better things are going to be for him individually. Like this stuff all works hand in hand. So it's a good approach to have from Karter.
I know you guys, Cal said he didn't watch the film until this year. I mean, did you go back and watch highlights of that game before prepping for Texas Tech? As a player, do you also put that aside and just kind of not worry about it since it's the last game of the
We got a smile on his face right now.
season?
I did. I went back just to see, that like the whole game. They had the full game on YouTube. I just watched it a few days ago. So I just had to watch that game. It was a very good game, a game that we should have won. But I'm past that. I'm focused on Saturday.
Last one for me. I mean, you guys have 4 returnees, but you also have a lot of newcomers. Have the guys that were a part of that game last year talked to the freshmen or the transfers just about getting a little bit of revenge or anything like that?
Nah, they didn't talk to him, but we talked to them though. The guys last year they didn't really talk to him, but Wag, Bill and I and TB, we all talked to him about how this team is very scrappy, offensive rebound, and they won't give up.
Appreciate it, Karter.
Problem.
Matt, you got another one?
Yeah, I guess just to follow up, when you were talking about Texas Tech to the newcomers, what were some of their reactions to that? I think Darius talked a little bit about it in Little Rock, but just their reactions.
The first reaction was we should have won that game. It was up 16 and you should have won that game. That was their first reaction. But but I said, look, we won that game, we would have won the national championship. You wouldn't have seen us. So, I told them they watched Christian Anderson, Darius, that's his matchup. And Christian Anderson, very skilled, he's all right. But I feel like Darius is ready for that matchup. Malik Thomas and Zay Sealy, they all ready for that matchup already.
And that's, at the beginning there, he was like, this is just, we treat this like any other game or whatever. But then you heard him right there. And then, the new guys saying, man, y'all should have won that game. And Karter saying, yeah, we should have. But if we'd have done that, we'd have won the national championship. Y'all wouldn't have been seeing us. You know what that tells me? That tells me a bunch of these dudes, and there's a lot of reasons to come back, NIL deals and everything else, work on your draft stock and all that. But the unfinished business aspect of this is real. And yeah, that matters the most once we get to March, but having this opportunity to get your leg back, I'm telling y'all, it matters. Can't wait to watch it. Good stuff there from Karter Knox. Hey, today's episode of the Pod at the Palace is also presented by the Eye Center of Northwest Arkansas. Your vision is essential to your quality of life, and professional eye care is a must for you and your family. When you hang out with the Eye Center of Northwest Arkansas, every patient receives the best of new vision care technology, plus old-fashioned personal attention. They have availability for eye exams with their new provider, Dr. Rebecca Brown, right now, as well as their other providers available to fit into your schedule. They also do things like Botox, filler, and IPL with their aesthetics provider, Olivia Risch, who's been a registered nurse for over 12 years and can get you squared away before the end of 2025. Honestly, you can buy a treatment in advance for one of your loved ones if that's their thing, for your own holiday present there for your family. So schedule an appointment with the Eye Center of Northwest Arkansas today, 479-442-2020. You can also check out their website at www.eyecenternwa.com for more info. All right. Where to go. So let's talk about the history here real quick, and then we'll get into some of the meat and taters here. But a lot of history between these two programs. Like it certainly didn't start last year at the tournament. This series goes way, way back, and it was actually deadlocked 40-40 until the Red Raiders made that comeback and ended Arkansas' season in San Francisco in the Sweet 16. Texas Tech, they lead 7-5 in those games. They played 81 times. They played 12 times on a neutral floor, and Tech leads that 7-5, 3-1 in Dallas. But interestingly enough, Arkansas's one win over Texas Tech in Dallas came at the American Airlines Center. It was back in 2005. So the rest of those games that took place there were back in the day in the old Southwest Conference tournament. So it's been a minute. I will say Arkansas has had the best of them lately during the season. The Razorbacks have won 10 of the last 14 meetings. I remember the first game that I ever attended in North Little Rock. I think it was still Alltel Arena then. It was Arkansas. They got beat up by Bob Knight's Texas Tech squad. How many of y'all were at that game? I guess it would have been 05 or 06, maybe 06. Shout out to Stan Heath. I remember that. Patrick Beverly out there. Yeah, they got beat. They got beat by 15. Very disappointing. Drove all the way out there and got beat. We also had a foreign exchange student who was from Latvia, and he was on our basketball team. I was still in high school. His name was Paul Stupins, and this was during the Mike Jones, Paul Wall days. And he literally ordered a custom grill like for his teeth. And after the game, we went to McCain Mall and picked it up. And the dude wore it around for the rest of the season, the rest of the time that he was in the States. So I don't know why I shared that story, but I just remember that from the trip. That was the highlight because Arkansas got their butt kicked. Anyway, the last 2 times these teams have hooked up, though, it was in the NCAA tournament. If you remember, Arkansas, they beat Chris Beard's Texas Tech team at Hinkle Fieldhouse in 2021 to advance to the Sweet 16. That was awesome. That game was a hell of a lot of fun. They're in the bubble in Indianapolis. Man, got Arkansas over the hump into the second weekend, the first time in a quarter century. Muss was going nuts, standing on the table. They blew the breaker, and all the power went out in Hinkle right after that game before the next one. Like it was a scene. Awesome game. That was Devo clamping up Mac McClung. Y'all remember that on that last possession? Gosh. Good days. And then, of course, blew the 16-point lead last season in San Francisco in the Sweet 16, whatever. I don't want to talk about that anymore. This is going to be the 6th game that Arkansas has played in the American Airlines Center. They're 2-3 at the moment. John Calipari in his tenure, well, not his tenure, but in his coaching career is 2-1 in that building. The only loss came to Baylor in that game early last season. That was the second game of the year for the Razorbacks. So let's see here. Man, if you look at the resumes or the metrics for these two teams, you will see that they are very, very similar. In fact, let's do exactly that. I can pull it up real quick and we'll talk about it. We'll run through it. This is crazy. I mean, both teams 7-2 on the season. Arkansas 17th in the AP poll and the coaches poll. Texas Tech 16th. Arkansas 26th in the net. Texas Tech 20. Arkansas 29 at Kim Palm, Texas Tech 19. But Arkansas is 20th at Torvik, while Texas Tech is 31st. So reverse there. The Hogs are at 28th in BPI. Texas Tech slightly ahead at 24. The Razorbacks higher on strength of record. They're at 24 to Texas Tech's 26. You see how close all this is? Both teams top 25 and wins above bubble. Arkansas at 25th. Texas Tech at 15th. KPI, which we talked about the other day when we were explaining these metrics. Like I'm still trying to figure out how that works. That's the main difference between the teams here. Arkansas is at 47th. I'm still not sure how that works, but Texas Tech at 14th. And then the strength of schedule, which is cut off there. Both teams have a top 50 strength of schedule so far. But man, it's hard to differentiate between the two teams. It's kind of crazy. And you know, and if you watch them play, and as we kind of go through and look at some of the statistical stuff, like this is about as evenly matched of a game as you could imagine. And it reflects in, you know, what people think of it in terms of predictions and the computer models. And anywhere you see folks who are making the picks, it's usually split amongst staffs or whoever. And you look at Ken Palm and it's a 1-point swing one way. And you look at, you know, Torvik or BPI and it's 1 point the other way. So this has all of the ingredients to be one hell of a basketball game. And again, I can't wait for it to get started. You know, results so far, you know, Texas Tech, fairly similar to Arkansas. Same records, of course. Arkansas, you know, if you really look at it, if you want to break it down, the Hogs definitely have a superior win compared to Texas Tech. That win over Louisville, Texas Tech doesn't have anything to match that. Neither of them have lost to a bad team, but Arkansas was tight in both of their losses at Michigan State and against Duke. And for Texas Tech, they were in a dogfight with Illinois, lost that game close. That was on the road, and but they got destroyed by Purdue down in the Bahamas. 30-balled, blown out of the water. So there you go. Shout out to Texas Tech for beating my alma mater, Lindenwood, to start the year. They got that done. The Lions couldn't sneak up on them. Close win over Wake Forest. They blew out a massively overrated LSU team. And, they also got drug into deep waters by Wyoming. They only won that game by 4. Got out of it with the victory. It was kind of like Arkansas did with Winthrop there. So even some similarities in how they've gone about getting to the record that they have. Oh, goodness gracious, folks. Sorry, I had to pause this thing for a minute and put another cough drop in. Okay, moving on. Let's look at the side-by-side here and see if there are some advantages or some problem areas that stand out for Arkansas in this matchup. Let me pull it up for you real quick. Voila, there we go. So this is the KenPom side-by-side. I like the way that this is laid out. It's like when Arkansas has the ball against Texas Tech defense, when Texas Tech has the ball against Arkansas's defense. That's good stuff. The first thing that I wanted to bring up is pace, tempo, because it's not really listed on here, but that's one of the biggest differences between these two basketball teams. Arkansas plays very, very fast, and Texas Tech, because of their style and I think because of a bit of a lack of depth, they prefer to be much more deliberate. And that's even something McCaslin talked about in his press conference today of, well, we're trying to get better about not settling for the first good shot or average shot that we can find in a possession, but really working the ball and creating great looks. And they don't care how long it takes to do that. It's like Arkansas is a top 50 team in terms of pace in the country, and Texas Tech is sub 250. So there's a drastic difference there between the two teams. Arkansas is second in the country behind Georgia in fast break points. Meanwhile, Texas Tech is 239th in fast break points. They're averaging less than half of what Arkansas does in transition. Arkansas over 22 points per game, and Texas Tech's in single digit. I think they're at like 9.2. So that's a big thing to keep an eye on here. Who dictates the tempo of this game? If it becomes a track meet, or if Arkansas is able to force some turnovers or just generate some things in transition, speed this game up. That's going to be huge for the Razorbacks. If it becomes a back and forth half court type of game, Arkansas has still got a chance to win a game like that, but it certainly favors Texas Tech more than the up and down type of stuff would. I will say something that's interesting to me looking at this. You see that Arkansas, they're 46th in offensive efficiency, while Texas Tech is 31st. So 15 spots difference between the two. But I got to tell you, it doesn't really feel like there's much distance between the two in reality. I'm trying to figure out what the big, like, what is making that the case. I'm not saying Texas Tech is bad offensively. No, I'm not saying Arkansas is great offensively, but if you look at the raw numbers there, I don't know. I mean, Arkansas has a higher effective field goal percentage, more efficient inside the arc. They get to the free throw line more. They shoot free throws better. They don't get their shot blocked. They don't turn it over. Comparatively speaking, they're better in all those categories. And meanwhile, Texas Tech grabs more offensive rebounds and they shoot 1% better from three-point range. That's it. That's good enough to be 15 spots higher. I don't know. So now Tech does shoot more threes, and so they make about 2 more per game than the Razorbacks do. Arkansas assists on more of its made baskets. Arkansas also scores about 6 more points per game on better shooting. Now, they play faster, so there's more possessions there. But again, they're more efficient with putting the ball in the hole. So I don't know. It's not that big of a deal. It doesn't seem to me like there should be that large of a gap between the two here. So maybe this is a situation where that preseason bias they used to do those rankings in the beginning, it's still baked in a little bit and hasn't quite fizzled all the way out. I should go over to Torvik and do the side-by-sides offensively. And matter of fact, why not? Hell, what else am I going to do? What are you going to do? You're watching this. Let me go November 4th, excuse me, to present. And let me go to offensive efficiency. and see where we're at. I see. Where are these teams? There's Arkansas. They've got it 48. And then Texas Tech down at 67. So that's eliminating any of that preseason bias, at least over at Torvik, and just getting the games that you have played from opening night to right now. And according to Torvik, Arkansas significantly higher in terms of offensive efficiency. So there you go. Kind of answer my own question there. Now, rebounding. Folks, it's going to be so important in this game. I mean, how could it not be? Like we've heard Karter talk about it. They've emphasized it in practice. We remember the 22 offensive rebounds that Texas Tech grabbed last season. They're top 20 in the country in offensive rebounds per game this year, about 15 per game. I mean, we can go ahead and like combine segments here, right, and do our stats to strive for Arkansas. I think you got to, like keep Texas Tech under their average. I would say a dozen or fewer even, and that's kind of a barometer we've set for Arkansas in some of these other games because I don't know, like when Texas Tech gets them, it feels like a foregone conclusion that it's either going to end in a JT Toppin and 1 or a reload 3. How many times have we seen a team against Arkansas miss a 3, get the offensive rebound, kick it out or tip it out, and then they bury the next one? And that's so damn deflating. It's so deflating. I don't want to see too many of those because I have a feeling Arkansas is going to do a good job with first shot defense in terms of contesting those threes early. And gosh, man, if it's a bunch of second chance opportunities from beyond the arc, it's going to be brutal. So very, very important to limit them on the offensive glass. And honestly, Arkansas is getting better there. They're getting a little bit better in terms of containing teams on the offensive glass. Duke didn't bully them on the offensive glass too much. Now they got second chance points off the ones they did get. So there's that. Well, they have 12 offensive rebounds. That's not bad, but they got 25 points off of it. Speaking of the spray out threes. So that's what you have to avoid, but they've come a long way from giving up 19 against Michigan State, and hopefully that's a sign of things to come for Arkansas continuing to improve there. Let's see. Another thing that's interesting here, Arkansas holding teams under 28% from 3. Now, Texas Tech, it's a pretty simple formula for them. They either score it inside with Toppin or they score it for making threes. And they average about 11 made threes per game, although, and they're shooting, 36.5%. That's a little bit higher than Arkansas, not much, but they have more volume there. In 4 games against high major opponents, Tech's only shooting 33%. Not terrible, but it's certainly lower than they are in some of these other games. In Texas Tech's 2 losses, they've shot a combined 14 of 56 from 3 against Illinois and Purdue. That's 25%, if my math is correct. So when I look at this, I kind of feel the same way about this game, not as strongly because they do have a Toppin, and Louisville didn't have a Toppin. But I feel about this the way I did with Louisville to a degree of if you keep them in single digits in terms of made threes, I think you win this basketball game. So I think it's a fair goal. And that would be keeping them below their season average. I think they're like 10.7 makes per game from 3. Something else I've noticed is on the other side of the ball, Texas Tech defensively, they're about as good as Arkansas in terms of defending the 3, to tell you the truth. But they have not allowed an opponent now, and percentage-wise, I'm talking about. The Arkansas's had those games where they've given up 15 here or 12 there. It's like, what in the heck is going on? Better against better teams, but Texas Tech has not allowed a single opponent to make more than 8 threes on them this season. I'm just going to tell you right now, I think Arkansas is going to do that in this game. But nobody has even attempted more than 24. So they're really running teams off the 3-point line. Now, excuse me, 4 of their opponents have shot better than 52% inside the arc. So I do think that's notable. But I wonder what this looks like for Arkansas. Because we know that, John Calipari is not going to want them to settle for threes, especially early in the clock. And, I do think they need to be in attack mode for sure. But is this going to be one of those nights where Arkansas goes 7 of 18 from 3? If so, okay. Or are they going to be hoisting them up there a little bit more? I think the more that they make early, the more that Texas Tech is going to have to spread that defense out, and you've got some gaps to attack, which will be really important there. But, I think it'll be something to watch. The good thing is, a team that has done a great job about limiting threes in volume of threes is for Arkansas. Like they're not dependent on that. That could be a killer for a team like Alabama or whatever, but Arkansas doesn't need that to win basketball games. So I think if you're looking for an advantage, an advantage area for Arkansas, I've really got my eyes on those FTAs, those free throws attempted. Texas Tech, and we talked yesterday about, their personnel and their bench and everything like that. They're not really a team that can afford to get in much foul trouble. Now, they do a good job of defending without fouling. They're almost identical to Arkansas on that front, by the way. Arkansas is at, I think, 16.2 fouls per game. So per 40 minutes, that's not bad. Goodness gracious, man, this cough. Texas Tech is right about the same. Like they're not separated by much at all nationally. Now, the difference is Arkansas is better about getting to the line and converting. Hogs are averaging 19 made free throws per game, largely because they're knocking them down at 78%. Really good free throw shooting team so far this season. Texas Tech does not get to the line as often, and they're only making 14 per game. So it's a difference in 5 points per game on average between these two teams at the stripe. That's notable. Like that's almost as much as 2 threes can cost you. So Tech shooting 67% as a team at the free throw line. So again, if maybe Arkansas can knock down some open threes early and spread the defense out, maybe that ball movement is there. But if they can find a way to create and attack those driving gaps and get downhill, I really think that's something that could spell trouble for the Red Raiders in this basketball game. Now, we did our matchup breakdowns on yesterday's episode, so be sure you go and check that out if you haven't done so already. But I did just want to pull up also the side-by-side of the player comparisons just real quick because I found this interesting. Now, you can see Toppin and Christian Anderson are, the two top guys for sure. And Lawan Watts, who we've talked about, he comes off the bench, but he's a high-usage guy. When he comes in there, it's like it's sixth man of the year quality guy coming off the bench, in my opinion. The others are just Jags, just a guy out there. They all have their own skills, right? I mean, McCaslin was talking about the Horner kid who we mentioned yesterday as being somebody who's a good defender for him. Obviously, since they got the big kid back from VCU, he's a shot blocker in there. They got the shooter in Atwell, but they really rely heavily on their top two and then Watts to shoulder a lot of the load there offensively. But look at Arkansas's page on the left side column there. I've never seen this before at KenPom. Nick Pringle is in a category of his own, and it's called almost invisible, nearly invisible, it says. What the hell is that? You got major contributors, you got significant contributors, you got role players, and then there's Nick Pringle, nearly invisible. You got to throw my man some lobs. Get him some easy ones. We will not stand for this Nick Pringle slander in here. Nearly invisible. Let me tell you something, Nick Pringle. I see you, buddy. You're not invisible to me. You're a big part of this basketball team, even if your usage rate offensively is the lowest I have ever seen for a college basketball player at Arkansas. I did not know that category even existed. He doesn't care. Hell of a role guy. But no, seriously. All right, let's get him some lobs. Let's get him up over 8% usage, so he's in the role player category. That's crazy. Nearly invisible. Unbelievable. Also, shout out to Isaiah Sealy for being a usage merchant when he comes into the game, and he's up there in the significant contributors category with Malik Ewan. The dude plays like every 3 games, and he's up there. I think that's hilarious. Good on him, though. Good on him. Folks, are you tired of juggling insurance companies just to find the right type of coverage? Well, if so, let me tell you something. You need to hit up OZK Insurance in Rogers. They make insurance simple. Again, as a 100% independent agency, they shop the entire marketplace to deliver the best combination of cost and coverage, saving you both time and money. Whether it's home, auto, boat, motorcycle, life, or commercial insurance, their friendly team has access to a wide range of flexible options designed just for you. They serve Northwest and Central Arkansas, including Bentonville, Centerton, Fayetteville, Little Rock, Hot Springs, Springdale, and beyond. Let OZK Insurance be the trusted advisor that you never knew you needed. With over 600 5-star Google reviews, start today with a free online quote at ozkinsurance.com or call 479-715-4200. It's OZK Insurance, protection made simple. Okay. Whew. Let me get a sip here. Dang. Okay. Got to kick this thing. What to watch here for Arkansas? I mean, for me, it starts with what we kind of been talking about all week, which is just a relentless effort that I expect from your returners. And it's not that they don't play hard already. They do. But they might amp this up to March Madness levels in this game. And this is, to me, this could be a swing moment in the season for Arkansas. Not in the wrong direction. Like, if they lose this basketball game, I'm not going to be panicking over it. I'm not going to be freaking out over it. I mean, unless they get blown out or something, then we'll be really upset. But I don't see that happening. This could be the type of thing that could bring this team together even more and could get some things to start clicking for some of these guys who are trying to figure it out. And those are your returners, frankly. So, because I think the young guys, the freshmen in particular, the stuff is contagious for them. You know, like they're alphas in their own right, Cuff and Malik Thomas, but they haven't been through these kind of wars before. And I think they're going to see the level of intensity ratcheted up by guys like TB and Karter and Billy and DJ, and they're going to match it. And I think they're going to realize, oh, there are levels to this, and we can take it to another one. At least I hope that winds up being the case here. So this is the type of catalyst game I feel like that could really turn the tides for a guy like Karter this season, for a guy like DJ this season, and I hope to see him ball out. TB and Billy too, of course, obviously, but Karter and DJ are kind of the ones who have stuck out to us this year as the two that you expected more from, and you're just kind of waiting for that switch to flip on for them, and maybe that's this game. So we'll see. Another thing I'm gonna have my eyes on, we talked about it yesterday, but just a big time battle between Darius Cuff and Christian Anderson, the point guard position. Now, let me pull up real quick the KenPom page for Texas Tech, because I want to share with you guys. This is what Christian, we know what Cuff's done in these games. We know what he's all about. He's good for it. I wanted to pull up what Christian Anderson has done in games against, competition with a pulse this year. So, for example, LSU last weekend, and they blew LSU out. He balled out. 27 points, 10 assists. He did have 4 turnovers, but Cuff had 10 assists, 4 turnovers against Louisville. But 27 points, 10 assists, 5 made threes he had against LSU. That's pretty impressive. The win over Wake Forest, he had 16 points. He hit 3 threes, had 8 assists, and 4 turnovers. He has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 out of 9 games. He's had 3 or more turnovers this season, which is interesting. Let's see. Who else have they played this year? Illinois, we talked about the 2 games they lost were his worst 2 games of the year. Against Illinois, he was held to 8 points. He was 4 of 12 from the field, 0 of 6 from 3. He did have 11 assists in that game, though. So that's a hell of a high number there. You know what that was? Against Illinois, it was dumping it into JT Toppin and him getting buckets. I think Toppin had 32 or 34 in that game. So legitimately just dumping it in and letting Toppin score. And then against Purdue, Anderson had 13 points. He was 5 of 15 from the field, 3 of 10 from 3, only 1 assist in that basketball game. So as good as he's been this season, you look at his numbers and they're damn impressive. He had 34 on Lindenwood. Congratulations. But he's containable, I guess is what you can say. Now, he also has some explosion potential. He's had some huge starts to games where he just goes, nuts in the first half and really puts him in a good position. So Arkansas is going to have to be locked down on him. It's going to be a hell of a matchup there. Him and Acuff, man, going back and forth is going to be a lot of fun to watch. I'm really excited about this one. Also, how did the Hogs defend JT Toppin? That's something else that we talked about yesterday, but the short answer is hopefully better than they did Cam Boozer, right? I mean, is that fair to say here? Yeah, I mean, are they going to go with Pringle on him and go with physicality? Are you going to try to match his, length and athleticism with Trevin? I'm guessing a combination of both. Are you going to double him? Are you going to dig down? Are you going to risk that against shooters? Are you going to deny in the post? Are you going to let him catch it and, get fed to the Wolves? What's that going to look like? I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. He has had some big time games here too. I want to look at some of his big performances this season. His usage rate is crazy as well, but let's see. Against LSU, I mean, LSU held him to 11 points. He had 15 rebounds. It was a double-double. But if he had 11 and 15 on Arkansas, I wouldn't even be mad about it. He only took 10 shots in the game. He's 5 of 10. Like, if you can limit him that way, that would be huge for the Razorbacks. He had 27 and 9 on Wyoming, 19 and 16 on New Orleans. What do you do against Purdue? 15 points and 8 boards against Purdue. They had him in some foul trouble in that game. Against Wake Forest, he had 21 and 9. Against Illinois, this is the game I was talking about. 35 points on 17 of 25 shooting and 11 rebounds. Whoa. He had 6 turnovers, but my God. Dude took 25 shots in the basketball. That's JD Note level stuff. That is what you can't have if you're Arkansas. I say that, and he did it against Illinois, and Illinois beat him. But it just goes to, in my opinion, like one of the biggest keys for Arkansas in this basketball game. Easier said than done, but can you contain one of Christian Anderson and JT Toppin? If they combine for 45, 50 points, that usually puts them in a good position to win. Doesn't make them unbeatable, but it puts them in a really good spot. But they're so dependent on both of those guys being really, really good for them every night. And hell, they're All-American caliber players, so it's fair, that expectation to have for them, but contain one of them. Get one of them out of rhythm, one of them in foul trouble, just one of them off the floor for a little while, and they completely can tilt the game on its head because they're in trouble. They've got a Lawan Watts, but they don't have a Malik Thomas coming off the bench. And they certainly don't have a Malik Ewan after that. And they certainly don't have a Billy Richmond after that. So depth could really play into account here. And if you limit one of the stars, I think Arkansas is going to be in a real good spot. Speaking of the bench, I mean, we need a good game from the bench mob here if you're Arkansas, right? I mean, this is a great opportunity for Malik Thomas. We're waiting for him to have a kind of a breakout performance, have his moment against one of these big time teams. Acuff had his against Louisville, and Thomas was fine in that game, but he's going to explode on somebody at some point. I keep predicting it. I promise I'm not going to do that this time because I'm going to try the reverse jinx thing, but he's due for one. Like, would you be surprised at all if Malik Thomas just went for 25 on anyone, much less Texas Tech? I wouldn't be at all. So you would love to see it. Billy, his energy, his ability to get downhill. I think his defense on Christian Anderson is going to be something that looms really, really large in this basketball game. So you're going to need him to be dialed in. And then Malik Ewan. We've talked about it. You need him to just keep being the guy that he has been for the last couple of weeks here. Play hard, get after it. Yeah, JT Toppin can go get a double-double. So can Malik Ewan. Toppin can score it in the paint. So can Malik Ewan. I'm not saying he can match him blow for blow there, but he can have a big game as well to kind of counteract some of that. And again, like if you get them in foul trouble, if you make Toppin defend, the guy who's got the best opportunity of scoring on him / getting him in foul trouble, it's Ewan. So I'm telling you, this is one of those deals where when he checks into the game, I'm running a set for him. I'm running a post up for him right away and let him go to work and see what you got. I think it's a good idea. Okay, I think I'm making the executive decision here to call it a show. I'm going to plan on doing a Pod at the Palace after dark. So look for sometime after midnight that to come out Saturday morning, late Friday night, Saturday morning, if you will. I'm not going to shake this cough. It's driving me crazy. And we'll have some fun with it. I'll walk around and we'll talk about some different things. Our SARACEN prop should be out by then, so we'll do that. We'll do our game predictions, our picks to quick, our all that bold predictions, all that kind of stuff. We'll do that for tomorrow. We'll do it pretty quick, so folks have something. Driving to the game. If you're coming from Fayetteville to Dallas or Central Arkansas to Dallas or whatever, give you a little something to listen to get you prepped for everything that's going on. So plan on that. Be on the lookout for that, and appreciate everybody for tuning in as always. Again. Apologies. I was trying to pause it in there. If I had to cough and stuff, it's tricky. I'm trying to figure it out. The cough drop didn't work as well tonight as it did yesterday, but I appreciate everybody's patience. But the show's going to roll on, man. It doesn't matter. We're not stopping because of a cough. Maybe we'll have our flu game on Saturday, and it can just be the most epic post-game show ever. Of course, that's only going to happen if the Razorbacks win, right? Which we're all hoping that they do. But all right, going to get out of here. Appreciate everybody for tuning in as always. Subscribe, follow, like, listen, all those things. We know what you're doing. Shout out to the Coffee Club again. Everybody be safe getting down there to Dallas, and hopefully get to see some of you guys there. If you see us, come give us a shout. Say hi. Look forward to it. Have a good one. We'll see you in the morning.